Hello everybody. What I'm going to be demonstrating in this video is how you can connect QuerySurge to Power BI to test different visualizations and other entities inside of your Power BI reports. To connect to a Power BI report, you first need to log into your QuerySurge instance using an admin level account. This is required as you'll need to be able to configure a new connection inside of your QuerySurge project. To get to the administration section, you'll just click the last icon located at the top and select Administration. On the left hand side, you'll select Connections, which will list all of the connections currently configured inside of your particular QuerySurge instance. To add a new connection, we're just going to click the Add button located in the bottom left. We'll click Next on our wizard screen, and we'll need to provide a connection name for our new Power BI connection. In this particular instance, I'm just going to use the name Power BI as I don't have multiple instances of Power BI that I will be testing with this particular QuerySurge server. The next thing I need to do is select the Power BI data source. This will be under BI Tester, Power BI. Once selected, we'll click Next, and we'll need to provide some information on how to authenticate to our Power BI server. There's two main authentication types. We have master user and service principal. A master user essentially uses your Office 365 account to connect to Power BI. For most cases, we actually recommend using a service principal, which is no longer tied to an individual user. During this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to set up a service principal, but if you want to know how to use a master user or want additional information on the difference between the two, you can always go to our knowledge base as we describe these in great detail. So in this case, I'll select Service Principal, and you'll see here I need a couple of pieces of information. This includes our client ID, our tenant ID, and a secret, which is used to authenticate, similar to a password. To get this information, what we need to do is create a new Service Principal account. You'll need a Microsoft Azure admin to assist you with this process. However, if you have your own accounts to Azure, you can create the Service Principal yourself. To do so, you log into the Microsoft Azure portal, and you'll see I have app registrations at the top. If you don't have it in this top menu, you can always search for app registrations and select it from the search menu. What we're going to do right now is create a new registration that we'll use for authentication to Power BI and no longer have that tied to, say, an individual user's account. To create a new registration, you'll click the plus button in the top left that says New Registration, and you'll need to provide a couple of pieces of information regarding your registration to Power BI. The first thing that we'll need for our app registration is a display name, and this should be a name that is easily recognizable. That way, if you have to make updates at a later point, you'll know exactly the purpose of the registration. For my use case, I'm going to call this Integration QuerySurge. The next thing that we need to choose is what accounts will be able to access our app registration. For the most part, you're going to want to keep this as accounts in this organizational directory only. And this will limit access only to those users that are within inside of your organization. You can open this up to the public by using one of these other options over here. For more information, just click the Help Me Choose link, which will describe each one of the different supported account types. To register this app registration, all we need to do is click the Register button right here. What we'll see here is a bunch of information regarding our newly created app registration. The first thing that we're going to grab from this is our application or client ID. And we can just click this Copy to Clipboard button right here. We're going to take this ID and we're going to paste it directly into QuerySurge under our client ID. We'll notice here we need another field called Tenant ID, which is located right here. It's also called the Directory ID. Again, we'll just click this Copy to Clipboard option, and we'll paste that directly into QuerySurge. The last piece of information we need to authenticate with our Service Principal is our secret. By default, all of your app registrations do not have secrets. You can generate multiple secrets by selecting the Certificates and Secret option located in the left nav. We'll click the New Client Secret button right here, and then we are provided with two things that we need to fill out. The first is the description of this particular secret. We can give this anything that we would like, such as QuerySurge integration, or maybe to a particular project that we're testing. For my use case, I'm going to keep this just as QuerySurge. And then we need to provide how long this particular secret will last. What you'll see in this dropdown, you can have your secrets last 3 months, 12 months, 6 months, 18 months, 24 months, or custom. We're going to keep this at the default, which is 6 months. It's important to note, once your secret expires, QuerySurge will no longer be able to authenticate with Power BI. So you'll just have to keep track of how long your secrets are active for. That way you can update them prior to any deactivation. All we need to do now is click the Add button located in the bottom, and that will create our new secret. The two pieces of information that you'll see here are our secret ID and our value. The secret ID will always be displayed. You don't have to worry about that too much. We don't need that in QuerySurge. But our value here is that particular field in our connection that we'll need to copy out. I'm going to click this Copy to Clipboard. It's important to note this is essentially a password. You should not expose this to anyone that should not have access to this particular piece of information. Additionally, when you refresh this screen, all of your secrets will automatically be hidden, and you'll not be able to get them again without regenerating a new secret. So it's very important to copy and test them right as you create them. All I'm going to do now is go into QuerySurge. I'm going to paste my secret in like so. At this point, we mostly set up our connection to Power BI. What we want to do now is actually test this connection out. And for this, we'll need a test query. I'm going to paste in a test query that I already have pre-configured. And this is because in a separate video, we're actually going to go over the process of creating queries in Power BI. The next thing that we need to do once we have a query is we want to make sure that our particular service principal account has access to the workspace that contains our Power BI reports. To do that, we're going to open up Power BI itself, and we're going to navigate to the workspace which we want to test. I'll click Workspaces, and you can see here all of the different workspaces I have access to. I'm going to click QuerySurge Demo right here, and we can see we have a bunch of different reports inside of this workspace. To grant access to our Service Principal account, we're going to click the Access button located in the top right, and then we're just going to search for that account that we have just created. We can see that right here. We're going to leave the particular access level as member. You won't need to make them an elevated privilege such as admin, and we'll click Add. When we go back into QuerySurge now, if we click the next button right here, we'll have the ability to test out our connection. The testing process can take a few minutes, as it actually will run the Power BI report and extract the data that you have specified in your query itself. Additionally, your agents may be busy at any given point, and that may take some time for the particular job to run. Once our particular test executes, if we have any issues, we'll get an error message on the screen, or in this particular use case, we can see we have a passed outcome. I'm going to click Close on this particular window and Save. We have now created a Power BI connection that we can use throughout this QuerySurge project. So anytime that we need to write a query against a particular report or set of reports, we can reuse this connection at any point. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to you in our next video, which describes how to create queries against Power BI with QuerySurge.